Well, President Donald Trump finally visited Puerto Rico after the island was badly hit by Hurricane Maria. During a briefing on the relief efforts, Trump compared Puerto Rico's death tolls to Katrina and even let the people of Puerto Rico know that they threw the, quote, budget out of whack. Now, this past weekend also, a gunman unleashed a number of bullets from a 32nd floor strip of a Las Vegas casino, the Mandalay Bay, during an outdoor country music concert. The numbers, 58 people dead, 527 wounded. The event has brought up yet another conversation about gun control that has led Democrats pushing for that issue. Here now to talk about the latest events, we talk about to our political commentator and the owner of Retrovision Media, Lee Bond. So much to talk about, I couldn't even get it out of my mouth.
That's okay, it's good to be here.
You heard the senator talk in the first segment talking about the efforts with Puerto Rico. A lot of controversy still surrounding the president. We can talk about this a little bit more in depth. How politically correct is it for the president to make a statement that Puerto Rico has thrown, quote unquote, the United States budget out of whack?
Well, you know what, when it comes to political correctness, I don't think we want to use that in the same sentence with Donald Trump, because political correctness is not his strong suit. I think what went wrong in Puerto Rico in this whole scenario is that the mayor of San Juan made one fundamental mistake. It wasn't one that she could avoid, but her fundamental mistake was criticizing Donald Trump. Donald Trump can dish it out, but this man cannot take it. And so when she expressed her concerns, she expressed her doubts that this administration was going to do what was necessary to do, Donald Trump, in his usual pattern of reaction, started a tweet storm and actually got into a fight with the mayor of San Juan. She had every right to say what she did. She's responsible for the people there. She's watching. She's on the ground level right now. She's visiting those hospitals, and she's seeing those who are not receiving the goods and services that they need to literally survive. And by the president comparing the death toll from one event to another, I think that's anybody looking at that can see that that wasn't exactly being helpful. The death toll in Puerto Rico was raised from 16 to 17 that he said yesterday to now 34. But and while those numbers are small in comparison to Katrina, we have to understand that perhaps the Puerto Rican government and the mayor and the officials there did a hell of a job in getting people into a safe space prior to this event taking place.
Let me move in a little bit further, because he talks about taking care of the country and talk about wiping away the debt, because he says Puerto Rico has a huge amount of debt. Can you clarify that from a perspective? Because when he talks about helping, we're gonna wipe away the debt, and with full disclosure, he also had a golf course. The president has a golf course that had a golf course in Puerto Rico, a $33 million golf course that he also filed bankruptcy with and left the Puerto Rican people in debt there as well. So when you talk about wiping debt away, there's still a lot of eyebrows that are raised about the comment and then the tenor of in which it was said.
Well, I'm not really certain that this is the time to talk about debt in the first place. But if you want to go there, let's face it, I've heard numbers where as many as 46% of the Puerto Rican population is living below the poverty line. They have high taxes in order to meet the payments on the debts that they currently have right now. I believe it's up to 11% sales tax, 11.5% sales tax. That is extremely is a real strain on their economy. We are looking at, I believe, the mayor Mayor of San Juan indicated that they may have racked up as much as $90 billion in damages that has to be dealt with in order to put the infrastructure back together. So to talk about debt at this point is a little hard-hearted. Secondly, the fact that he mentioned and continued to mention that Puerto Rico's infrastructure was, in ragtag fashion anyway, just adds more salt to the wound, and it's none of any of the things that he's doing right now is helpful. It's pretty much all about Donald Trump. The fact that his administration is taking care of everything at a fantastic level. Everything he does is bigger, better, and far more wide-ranging than anything else anybody else does. So when someone even offers the slightest criticism, the slightest pushback on anything that he's done, they're going to face the wrath of the Twittiot in chief. And that's pretty much the bottom line.
Moving on, the president today is on his way to Las Vegas as we speak, as of airtime, going to speak to those and deal with the Las Vegas shooting. We understand Stephen Paddock's 64-year-old man shooting from elevated position at the Mandalay Bay Hotel into a country music concert. The death toll continues to rise. It's the worst shooting of its kind in the United States history. Many times people look at the president as being the consoler-in-chief, but what do you think and what can we expect to happen with the president's visit in Las Vegas?
I expect him to give tremendous kudos to the law enforcement officials who were there, who did what they had to do and what was responsible to do. I think he's going to stand hard fast on with regards to the NRA. He's not going to make any moves to deal with any kind of gun control issues. As of yesterday, I believe it was Mitch McConnell on the floor of the Senate indicating that this was a time for grieving, this was a time for mourning the dead. That comment was matched by Chuck Schumer on the floor saying this is a time to find ways to keep our citizens safe by way of legislating new gun control measures. However, let me give you a list of right now. If you think of Columbine, Sandy Hook, Aurora, Colorado, Virginia Tech, the Pulse nightclub, San Bernardino, after each and every one of those events, there was always a triggering event that we're going to sit down and talk about gun control again. Even after Steve Scalise, he just came back from being shot himself at the Republican baseball practice. Even after Gabby Gifford was shot in Arizona at a supermarket. She came back to a beautiful welcoming by the House of Representatives, and but where is this really going? Generally speaking, the right will say, we got the Second Amendment here. We have the right to bear arms. This isn't anything that we're going to ever give up, and we have the left saying that we have to do something about it. But after the Sandy Hook event in Connecticut, where 20 elementary school children were killed, 6 of their teachers were killed in class, we thought that that might be the breaking point. Barack Obama, right after that situation, during his State of the Union speech, called Congress out and asked them, look, we need to have a vote. In spite of between 85 and 95% of the U.S. population agreeing that something should be done to curtail access to weapons that would cause these type of situations to occur, they lost that vote. Special interests won. Special interests always win because the right to bear arms is ingrained in this country's psyche. And
you brought up the name Gabby Giffords, and we talk about the Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. She was one who was in favor of, or I should say against gun control laws. But after the shooting, she moved to say we need to have some sort of gun control reform. And yet and still one of the colleagues one of your colleagues is shot and she's got a new position. It didn't bring the whole House over in voting in support, recognizing even seeing one of their own colleagues being shot. What's it going to take in order to make this happen, or is it will continue to just be this bipartisan issue that will continue to plague us for time to come?
I'm certain that what you just said is probably the case. The NRA has a significant amount of power right now. They've got 5 million strong contributors to their cause. Again, when I said that gun ownership is within the DNA of the American psyche, that's not anything that's going to change anytime soon. We have, again, Chuck Schumer and a variety of other voices are coming out in support of doing something like this, but I'm a firm believer that we are where we are and we're going to be here for a very, very long time.
Lee Bond's our political contributor. We always have him here every week here on Open. You can check him out here, as well as on Retrovision Media, where he gives you the latest with issues under fire. Taking a quick break. We'll be back with more right after this.